In this video, I'm going to talk about Arrhenius acids and bases. Arrhenius is the person who came up with the concept of what is an acid and in terms of what it produces in a solution. So for example, Arrhenius would say, hey, if you have hydrochloric acid, it turns out that it's a one-way reaction to form aqueous ions, H plus, AQ, and chloride. Okay. So this is not a chemical equilibrium. There is no reverse reaction for this particular acid. So if there's no reverse reaction, no equilibrium, then we have a strong acid. So a strong acid, when you dissolve it in water, goes 100% to H plus ions plus whatever else is left behind when the H plus leaves. And so when you add the charges of these two ions, it should equal the charge of this guy. When you add the atoms in the formula, it should equal the atoms in this formula here. Okay, so that was the way Arrhenius defined an acid, something that produces H plus in solution. Now this definition also includes weak acids, which we'll talk about in a different video. Anything that produces H plus in solution is going to be an acid according to Arrhenius. Now Arrhenius said a base is anything that produces hydroxide in solution. All right. And so, for example, ammonia, when you dissolve it in water, okay, so we don't have hydroxide in ammonia. Where is the hydroxide coming from? Well, it comes from the water molecule. So the water molecule has two hydrogens and an oxygen. The base actually takes the H plus from the water and leaves behind hydroxide. So this is how some hydroxide is made in a base. Now this is a reversible reaction, and so we'll talk more about weak acids and weak bases later. However, let me do an example of a strong base. Now strong bases typically already have hydroxide in them. So if you take sodium hydroxide or any of the group 1 hydroxides, group 2 hydroxides up to their solubility limit, basically there's hydroxide in the salt. You dissolve it, the ions dissociate 100%, one-way arrow, and you get hydroxide dissolved in water plus the counter ion, whatever that is, and in this case it's sodium cation. Okay, so you're going to need to memorize the 7 strong acids. They will be given to you in the text, and you also need to memorize what the strong hydroxides are, which are basically the group 1A and the group 2A hydroxides. Anything else is either going to be a weak acid or weak base if it produces H plus or a hydroxide in solution.